Welcome to Uping Stock Trend Prediction Channel. So in this video, I'll talk about the Tesla stock price fluctuation, target price, and for the next week. And also before that, I will also very quickly review the last prediction. So this is a Tesla weekly chart, and this is a Tesla daily chart. So that means, if for example, if this is a weekly chart, so each vertical line, that's the actual fluctuation in a week. That's the actual price, Tesla stock price fluctuation. And this kind of trend lines for different colors that represents the different levels of the target price, either the high or low for different time frame. For depends on the time frame you choose, like a weekly chart or daily chart. So each time frame there's a set of different type of trend lines that represent the fluctuation range. So in the last video 100 uploaded to YouTube on September 17th, I predicted the weekly fluctuation of the Tesla stock price at least covers this band, and between the $294 to $314. And I also mentioned in video number 100 the worst scenario if this trend lines, if this predicted price doesn't hold it, and then it could drop. The worst scenario could drop it to this band, to this trend line, that's $284. So the actual fluctuation range of the stock price for the last week that happened after the video number 100 loaded to the YouTube. So the actual fluctuation range is fluctuated in this range. Between this range, it opened here and the high is here, and then it reaches, it has some kind of a struggle and a fight around this time price range, and then it finally dropped down at the later week. And you see, when it dropped to this trend line, and it couldn't hold the stock price, and continuously dropped to this trend line, and this didn't hold, and additionally has another additional drop dropped to this trend line. So if you take a look at the daily chart, so that's last Friday, last Thursday, Wednesday, and Tuesday, and that's last Monday. And from Monday to Wednesday, you see it's fluctuated in this kind of a range, and also has a kind of increasing trend, and the momentums try to break this yellow trend line. And once the Wednesday, when it started to drop, and it kind of dropped below these two blue trend lines, and stopped closed here, and that's the Wednesday. And when, for example, this kind of a trend line, if you follow my previous videos, then you will know, even though even after one day, any day, the data is closed, any day of the stock fluctuation, when it is closed, when you received this closing price, then all these kind of trend lines are already generated. That's represent the target price, or the increasing the momentum or decreasing momentum and the trend for the next day. So that means all these trend lines are already generated and will not be changed for the next day. That means for Thursday, and you can see all these kind of trend lines have the decreasing trend. So and that means on Thursday the stock price will continue to drop. So you see, when it opened here, when it was closed on Wednesday and then opened on Thursday in this range, and it's slightly decreased a little bit, and have a little bit increasing and then for the most of the day it is continuously still dropped to down to this range. So it's a kind of a strong decreasing trend, and this decreasing trend are also predicted by these trend lines. And after the Thursday is closed, all these trend lines for the next day, that's for the Friday, that's already also generated, and it was decreasing, has a decreasing trend, and then it opened here and still continues to dropped to this band. So that's basically the last Friday is almost finished this kind of a fluctuation in this band, because it has more decreasing momentum. So if you continuously follow this kind of a trend lines, then you will know after this dropped to this band, it can't hold that stock price, and it will still continue to drop down to this band. So but all this kind of fluctuation and the trend are exactly captured in and predicted in video number 100 that happened before this week started. So in video number 100, I also predicted the maximum price or the weekly high is this $314, and it's exactly just $1 different from the actual weekly high. So actual weekly high is $313. Actually, it's $313.69. So it's just about 30 cents different from what I predicted in video number 100. And also this kind of a fluctuation range and the worst scenario of a fluctuation range I predicted in video number 100, that's also exactly consistent with what was actually fluctuated. So so after you watch this kind of a video, so you may be wondering what will happen for the next week. So today is September 24th. So the next week is for September 26th to September 30th. That's the last week of September. So for the next week, so if you see this kind of trend lines are already generated, that's basically the predicted trend line or the trends for the next week. So this kind of a different level of target price are the predicted target price for the next week. And this kind of a trend, that's a decreasing trend, that's also predicted for the next week. And you can see based on this weekly chart and the daily chart, all these trend lines are still have the decreasing trend, and it's decreasing and has a decreasing trend. So that means next week is has a very high probability that we'll still have the decreasing trend fluctuated around this range. So depends on how it goes. So but the early next week, so for example Monday, and the fluctuation range is around this range. So at least this will be covered, and it depends on it will likely to drop even down to this $261, and but since it's already dropped 3 days, so there's a possibility that it will still, after it opened around this range or even dropped down to this $269, there's still a possibility that it may have a chance to try to rebound, have some temporary rebound, and try to rebound and increase up to this $280. So there's a possibility for that. And so the basic fluctuation range is around this range, and for the $261, that's basically is around this point, $262. So for next week, definitely there's a very high possibility it will almost will drop down to this $262 at least. And if you check the monthly chart, you see this the monthly chart this high, the highest price $313.64. That's exactly what I predicted. The weekly high $314 predicted in video number 100, and just last week it's almost dropped from this weekly high that's temporarily served as the monthly high. At this point, almost dropped down to this point, $275. So and you can see from this weekly chart, and the closing price of the last week is around this $275, and you can see it's very close to this trend line on the monthly chart, this blue trend line. So you can see for this kind of blue trend lines or green trend lines, that typically represents the low price trend lines or the support trend lines, a different level of support. So that means this blue trend lines could be a support. So, but at least it will have a very high possibility to drop down to this point, because this different trend line, this price represents the different target price or support or resistance for the current month, and this is for the predicted price for the next month. So for this kind of next month, its predicted price are already generated, but it will be finalized. It may have a little bit adjustment or a little bit of change. So it will be this point or price will be finalized after this month is closed or is completed. So next week is the final week of September. So it will drop down to this blue trend line. So this blue trend line is basically this blue trend line is about $263. It's close, basically it's close to this point, around $261 or $262. So if this trend line, it may have a little bit decreasing momentum and may struggle around this point a little bit, may also drop a little bit down to this. So the worst scenario for the next week is likely fluctuate around this price range. So depends on if the stock price will break through this trend line, so that will goes to the next month. So depends on if it will still have a temporary rebound and then go back and fluctuate in this range, or may still have a possibility, may even drop down to this price range. So but that will be finalized after next week. So if the Tesla stock price have a temporary rebound for the early next week, for example Monday, if it started at or dropped around this price, it may have a chance to have a temporary rebound and then increase it to around $280. So for the next week, the whole week, if it fluctuated and then have a temporary rebound, and it may go up to this $286 for the next week. But once it increases to this $286, it will very likely to still to have another additional drop. So the best scenario for the next week is around $286 for the weekly high. That's for the best scenario. But it will, as I mentioned before, it still have a additional drop, a possibility of a potential drop to at least drop it to this $262. If you are interested in this kind of a prediction or analysis, you are welcome to subscribe Uping Stock Trend Prediction channel or watch more video in YouTube.